Hello and welcome to SharpHR Career Corner with Karen Sharp Price. This podcast will inform and inspire you in your quest to find the right career path. If you're just starting out, looking to make a change in your field, or transitioning into a new career, then this podcast is for you. We will be sharing tips and providing resources on topics such as writing resumes, interviewing, using LinkedIn, and networking. We will take a look at different careers, companies, and opportunities. You will hear success stories from professionals in all career paths, and so much more. You will leave this podcast with 3 key takeaways that you can easily put into practice. Enjoy!
Welcome to SharpHR Career Corner. I want to introduce you to Amy Shellman, registered nurse and owner of Sunsets and Souls Boutique. Hi, Amy. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Pretty good. It's sunny out, so I'm okay. It's freezing, but
over the freezing.
Yeah, I'm over the snow, that's for sure. So I want to start back with your education, because as I was looking into you a little bit more, because I only know like the Facebook Amy, so I went over to the LinkedIn side of Amy.
It's pretty much the same as the regular me, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Well, I was interested in your education. My gosh, I mean, so you have a BA in biology. You have a master's in education, BS in biology, a master's in education, a BS in registered nursing. That's a lot. That's a lot of...
I'm good at school, so I kept going.
Yeah.
I also, so I got a bachelor's degree right out of high school. So done with school, did it in 4 years. I went to Niagara University locally, for anyone who's not.
Yeah.
And at first I thought I'd be pre-med, then I thought I would do like lab work. And basically what happens is that when you have a biology degree, you generally just go back and add something else to it, right? Like that's kind of what happened. And so I applied and I did an accelerated master's program at NU. So I did my master's in education at the same time as student teaching and got that student teaching or the teaching certificate. So I was a teacher kind of on and off for like 5-6 years.
Okay.
And I did that while getting married and having 2 kids. So that was kind of a crazy time. It was supposed to be a 1.5-year program. It took me a little longer because I took time off in between. I had 1 kid and then I was set to have another one in the fall when I was supposed to student teach again. Surprise.
Wow.
My girls are 1 year and 6 weeks apart. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I called the school. They were super helpful. I student taught in like May and June. They brought someone in like to let me do it. And they, cause school's over in May for college. Right. And then I student taught in September and October when I was very, very pregnant, and I had Paige in November and finished up my master's.
Oh my gosh.
At the same time. So that was kind of a crazy time, but unfortunately back in like 2005 when I got my master's and my kids were really small then, I had like a newborn and a 1-year-old, the job market for teaching in Buffalo was not good. And after about 5-6 years of doing some different things, I taught at a non-secure detention facility. So at Wyndham Lawn in Lockport, for a couple years, the whole school was 12-1-1. So we did have some like day students that needed that educational breakdown for their like IEPs, special ed type deals. So I did that for a couple years. I taught in the city of Buffalo for a year. Then they did massive layoffs. So after that, I never got called back. I taught at a charter school for a little while. And then basically I kind of got sick of looking for a job that I wasn't super excited about going to. So I applied to nursing school on a whim and was like, well, if I get in, we'll figure it out. And I got in, and I didn't know till like 2 weeks before the winter semester was starting when I had to do all my prerequisites. So I like called frantically and got into I did like 5 nursing prerequisites the semester before. And then my bachelor or my BSN program was from May to May. So 1 full calendar year. So that's what I did.
Wow.
And then I went into nursing after that.
So you had the interest because of the biology.
I had no idea really what nurses did. My main interest was that I liked science and I wanted a job that I made at least what a teacher made. I had 0 clue, which is hysterical, right? I had 0 clue really what nurses made and really what they did.
Yeah.
Until I was like in nursing school. So yeah, it's worked out. I was like, oh, we get to do all that. Oh, awesome. That's great. Like, whoa. Because my thought was like, oh, yeah, call the doctor.
Really?
It is not what you do. But yeah, it worked out really, really good. So I got really excited because I want to do that kind of thing. So thankfully,
So
I tend to jump at things.
About what year was that, would you say?
I graduated from nursing school in May of 2014.
2014. Okay. So you were a nurse for a while.
Yeah, I've been a nurse for 7 years. I actually went back per diem now, but yeah.
So you were like into it 5 years before the pandemic hits.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So how was that whole experience with the pandemic? Because you would see some nurses on that were just completely exhausted. Just, I don't know how they had the strength to maneuver it all. And in the beginning, it was, you would see families split apart that were working in hospitals because they didn't want to bring it in because they didn't know, and they didn't know what that would mean. And so they'd live in different quarters, and it was all that kind of stuff. But on a daily basis for a nurse, what was it like working in a hospital during all that?
It was really strange. So I did acute medical rehab. So I wasn't really in that part of the hospital, I would say. But of course, nobody knew if like the whole hospital was going to end up being COVID or whatever. So, and they also took like volunteers to pick up time, like at St. Joe's when that happened. So, I mean, that was a little bit in, but it was terrifying, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
it was like all of this is going on. And then you hear like, they're saying we don't need these masks. We really need the masks. And it's all because of, the supply issues, right? Because there was all the PPE supply issues. So that was terrifying as well. Because you're like, I don't know why they're not telling me I don't need a K95 all the time when they told me I did before. And now they're saying only when it aerosolizes. And they're saying, okay, well, we'll give them to you. Like, it was just a whole thing. Because nobody knew what was going on, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of crazy when we first got people in, because we'd be like, do we have one of those? Oh my gosh, like it's here, like what's going on? And then, it would fill up. And then for a while we were just sending them over to St. Joe's when they came in. So I didn't see a whole lot of it. Like it just ebbed and flowed and changed. And you just kind of had to be that way. And as far as home, we just stripped out the door and jumped in the shower and, that kind of thing. I had a teenager that was employed at Tim Hortons. So she actually worked through the pandemic because they were deemed essential, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because, who wants their 16-year-old out and all that? Because I totally did not. But at the same time, I was like, okay, well, we have to live somewhat. Like, and I give her all the tips, what to do to be safer. And, she ended up being fine. But
wow. I mean, it had to be mentally exhausting.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think more for you than me, because I could just stay in the house and
exactly.
function. But I mean, I would be the designated person to go out grocery shopping. And then that was like in the beginning, a whole big ordeal of how to do that.
Eerie.
Yeah.
Like it was weird and quiet and eerie there. And it kind of was in the hospitals too, to be honest. Like it was just a really weird, eerie feeling because nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah,
and
shelves
how it
were
would
empty,
people.
And it was. I don't think I ever imagined that I could have ever lived through something like that in my lifetime. And there we were, right in the middle of it, and not knowing what that meant. It was crazy. So let's go back just a little bit. You own Sunsets in Souls Boutique, but you started it like in August of 2019, so like 6 months before the big hit. Where did this come from, and where did you get the name from?
Well, the idea for the business, I honestly came from someone else. So they were doing it. There was a few different people doing it. And I had kind of delved into like purchasing clothes from them because I thought it was such a cool idea. It was a lot of like former LuLaRoe people moving on to do this kind of thing on their own. And I was like, this is really cool. Like the business model is really fun. Like it would be fun for me to do this. Right. And my kids were getting older. So they were, I don't know, 9th and 10th and 11th grade, something like that at the time. So like, I knew that there's going to have to be something for me at that point. Cause I was like a huge dance mom, cheer mom, like that kind of thing. It still like kills my soul that they're not dancing now, but anyways, right? Like it's what we did for years and years.
It was our identity.
So, yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So, I kind of started it for me. I was like, it was really funny because 2 weeks before I went and got like a DBA and did the things. I had kind of like mentioned it to my husband that I thought it would be cool to do that. And, you know, he's a man and he's very practical, which I clearly am not. So he was like, you know, whatever. Kind of like, I don't know if that would work. And I was like, whatever, you know, kind of let it go for a little bit. And a couple of weeks later, I was telling my friend about these great boutiques online that I'm buying my clothes from. Isn't this cute? Blah, blah, blah. And she was like, well, have you ever thought of doing that? And I was like, you know what? As a matter of fact, I have. And within, I think, 48 hours, I had like a DBA, my EIN, like everything set up and inventory on the way. So.
Wow. So how did you even know where to go to get the inventory? How did you, like, just the basic
there's a lot of Googling.
Wow. Because and we'll talk about it, I guess, a little bit later along, but the clothes that you pick out, you don't find other places. You don't see other places. It is just really cute things that you could say, yeah, I could see myself in that. Like, it just very... Yeah. And so when I see you and you're on live all the time and you're showing your clothes and then you have other women that show it in different sizes, so it makes it real for everybody's size. Like, you're just coming up with these ideas on your own?
Yeah, for the most part. A lot of them, there are resources out there now. Like I've joined, it's the Boutique Hub. So it's kind of like somebody kind of took the idea that there's all these like independently owned stores, right? Independently owned boutiques all over the country, right? And like online selling is becoming bigger and live selling and all of that. And I know it's been around for a while. So, I mean, maybe at first it was just like the brick and mortar boutiques, but found a way to like bring everyone kind of together. And so we can like talk about different ideas. Like, what are you doing for this? What are you doing for that? And then, also just kind of, you know, education, because let's be honest, I have a bachelor's degree in nursing and biology and a master's in teaching. There was never a business class ever taken in my life. So here we are.
That's amazing.
There's a lot of things I need to learn about. So.
Well, you seem to be doing it the right way. I know that, you know, over the last, 5 years or more, the concern about our stores, just our brick and mortar stores, they're evaporating. They're going away. So the places that you normally would go to shop, like a Bon-Ton, is gone. And then you start thinking about it. Well, how are you supposed to buy clothes online? Because you got to try them on and you got to do this and that and the other thing. But you sort of made that transition in front of us, and we all now can see how we can actually do that, and it's not as scary, because it seems time consuming to, you know, order something and then try it on and then figure out it doesn't fit and then try it back. But when you have people wearing them in all different sizes, you can get that visual, which is what we didn't know was going to exist when we started seeing our stores just kind of closing up and not being able to do that. So you've made it very down to earth. You've made it very easy for somebody to kind of see it and be able to see themselves in those clothes in a way that like a Kohl's and a JCPenney's doesn't even do now, or never did.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like, remember the catalog days where you'd get a catalog? I mean, that was the visual. So you could kind of see yourself, and then that we kind of got away from all of that, but you're bringing that back live. And so I got to ask you, so I've been connected with you probably over a year now on Facebook, and you're just very transparent. You just, you know, with both professionally, where you've been and where you're going, and personally, and you do a lot of live events. Now, how did you get over that? Because I still am very much, record, edit, and put out person. How did you make that leap to just be very transparent and live? It's hard. It's hard for me. I don't know how you do it.
Honestly, it's practice makes perfect, right? So I was very nervous about lives back in like a long time ago. So I did Beachbody Coaching for a bit, and that was never lucrative for me. But at the same time, it like allowed you to post pictures that aren't perfect, right? Or jump on a live and discuss like what's going on with whatever, because you're putting yourself out there. And I mean, clearly you have to like buy in, right, to what they're doing and what they're saying, but it definitely helped me to be more confident and to kind of know a little bit of where to start, like how to build an online community, like what you're, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, honestly, it's just practice and knowing like my first live, I'd be like, this is a hem. This is what it does. I'll be like, I'll get better at this. It's fine. And being okay with not being great at something in the beginning is a huge lesson to learn. Like to just start, because you're not going to be perfect. Like it's not going to be wonderful, like because you haven't done it before.
Right.
Like that's just how it is. You got to learn and grow. And
so I don't remember the time that you first started, but you just seemed very, natural, I guess. You just seemed like you would be talking to a friend and it's just being recorded.
Right. Yeah. Because I literally don't care.
I need a little bit of that.
Like that's like funny or silly. Okay, whatever. Like it's fine. It's me. Like I'm the same person you see online that you'd meet if you come into the store. That it just.
Have you always considered yourself pretty much like an open person, an open book?
For the most part, yeah. I'm very like, it is what it is.
Hey, I think that we all wish we could be like that. I think one of the things that I saw way back when, and you probably remember when this was, but I remember you posting something about just packing up and taking a trip to Disney. And I said to myself, wow, I don't think I could ever do that by myself. But you seem to like, let's just throw some things together. And then you posted yourself at different places at Disney. And I thought, wow, like that would be really cool to just get away like that and not have all the baggage, which means family, with you.
100%. So I've done it a few times now where I've taken solo trips. So in 2020, I went in September, and that was more solo out of necessity because I didn't want to bring my kids across the country right at that point. They were, it was pre-vaccine. And it was during the like quarantine after you travel time. So my husband really couldn't come. But as a nurse, there was a way around it. So you could go to work still, but you have to quarantine when you got home. So if I needed something picked up, I was quarantining. My husband had to go get it done, right? Like, I was like, okay, I can do that. That's great. And also with Disney, and I did get a little bit of backlash on that because I was very much like, wear your mask, stay home, do what you have to do, right? Because of where I'm coming from in the healthcare space. But I felt very safe with the precautions, and I'd been in a hospital through the whole pandemic. And I was like, you know what? Like, if I can do that, like I can do this for myself. And that's what I did. Like, and it was a very different Disney experience. It wasn't super busy. I stayed in a deluxe resort for like, I don't know the price you'd pay for a moderate right now because I had an annual pass as well. So there was some crazy annual pass discounts because they were trying to get people back in. I'll probably never stay deluxe again, but it was the experience, right? And I went and I was like 5 days away from all the craziness, and it was nice. And I've done it again. I did it, I think that January for a little bit, and I'm going again for a couple days in May before another trip. But
so how many times have you been to Disney, do you think, in your
I
lifetime?
Don't even know. Probably at least 10. Probably like 8 in the last couple of years.
Wow.
6 or 8.
Wow.
It's much cheaper if you don't bring your family too. Just throwing it out there. People are like, I don't know how you do it. I'm like, well, I bring like one kid. Like my oldest daughter came with me last March, and you know what I mean? Like it's definitely different, right? So
yeah.
Plus they're older. Like my younger one could care less about going to Disney. So why am I going to pay for it? Like, no. Yeah. My husband's kind of over it at this point. He's like, I've been 3 times. I'm good. Like, so I'm not going to like not do what I want to do because nobody else wants to come with me either. So.
Wow. Yeah. That's nice. And when I saw that you had done that, I thought, well, I mean, there probably wasn't that many people there. So the social distancing was probably not a problem. And I'm sure that Disney kept things very clean. So
Disney was kind of crazy at that point. Like, it was your mask on 24/7. If they saw below your nose, there were cast members in the lines, helping with keeping people socially distanced and telling people to fix their masks. And there was more sanitizer than there was in the hospital, I think. Like, at that point in time, it's definitely changed. And I've seen it kind of change as time has gone on. But I mean, they're back into more of a normal swing of things now. It's been really busy, so we'll see how May goes. But I'm hitting the end of my second annual pass year now. I had gotten an annual pass right before Disney shut down, so that was great timing. But it actually ended up being nice because it was somewhere I felt comfortable going by myself, because I had been there I'd been there prior, and their mitigation measures were great. So I was good with that too. So it was definitely like a place where I could go and get away and feel safe. So
not a bad place. You should start making commercials for them though.
Right.
Do some lives and post them.
We'll see. I'm kind of like coming to the end, I think, of my like crazy Disney run. I'll probably still go a couple times a year. We'll see. But I'm gonna let my AP go, I think, because my daughter's now living in Nashville. I'm traveling more for the store. So you know, it's hard to be away all the time.
Life keeps changing. It's fluid.
Right, for sure.
So speaking of that, so on March 6th, you posted something that caught my attention. And is it okay if I read it out loud?
Yeah, I don't care. You're fine.
All right, because I think it really reached a lot of people, and because again, we're talking about your transparency, your openness, your ability to just get on there and be live and be who you are, and not having a facade in front of you. So I think like this really sums up everything. And so there's a lot in here that I want to talk to you about. So, okay. So 2022, so far on the world scale, it's a shit show, an utter devastating humanitarian crisis. It is horrifying. Personally, to spite whatever else it is happening outside of my person, I am choosing that this is my year. Not financially, though I am working for that, but elsewhere. My year to work on me, to do the things that I want to do and rarely have time to do. To take care of myself. I'm getting this body into best shape I can. I've sworn off dairy, added sugar, 98% of grains. If I have any of them, it's a rare treat, and my body is happier than it's been in a long time. I've started to make moving my body a priority. I know it's a cliche, but I'm not getting any younger. To create and share community with those around me, to create a space at Sunsets and Souls where women come to connect, to learn new things. So far, I've had painting classes and a blanket making class at the store, and I have more coming. To do the things that I want or create them. I want a book club and to go to brunch. So I made a club where our meetings, you guessed it, are a brunch. Sunsets and Souls Searchers Book Club, if you want to join. I've hired a coach to dive into all the pieces and parts of me that are stuck in my body and need to be healed. I know it's out there for some of you, but embodiment really does trump mindset work, and it's incredible. More About Business is about who we are as a person and a business owner, and I'm ready to work on me. That work resonates everywhere else in our lives. All this to say, do more things that you desire to do. If you want to read more, exercise more, walk more, go out to brunch more, make those things a priority. We only get such limited time here. Spend it wisely. And yes, I am upset, horrified, sad, angry, and well, all the things about the state of the world. But unfortunately, there is very little action we can take to change much of that, besides our own state. So, that was a lot. that like I was reading and I'm like, there was lots of pieces to all of that. I think that every year, I know I do, I try to like reassess like where I am, what I'm doing, who I am. And that just like really resonated with me. And as I could see on your posts, I think it apparently did so with a lot of other women. What were you hoping to kind of generate with that type of post? It was almost like a journal entry.
Like that all the time. So yeah, late night thoughts, whatever. Yes.
Well, it all came together. So how do you swear off dairy, added sugar, 98% of grains. Because when I start looking at what I've eaten, I'm like, uh-oh. Like, yeah. How do you do that?
You just don't eat them. No.
Yeah, but so like I have a lot of people in my house. Like I have boys, and the food is everywhere. So that's really hard. Like, you know, my husband makes cookies, and then there's breads sitting everywhere, and there's, you know, because they're constantly eating, constantly. Every few minutes, someone's got something in their mouth. So how do you do that?
Well, for me, it's just my husband, myself, and my 17-year-old's at home still. And she works all the time. So honestly, I'm feeding myself most of the time. Chuck works afternoons every other week. So, you know, once in a while we'll eat the same thing, but it's whatever at this point. But really, so I did a gut health cleanse program, basically gut health protocol kind of thing for 3 weeks. It was through Pure Romance. So Sabrina and I share space. So her office is inside the store. And she did it and had good results. And I was like, fine, whatever, give me the stupid stuff. Right. Like, it was so funny. She's like, you're so angry about it. I'm like, yeah, because I didn't want to do it.
So what is it? Is it like a powder? What is it that she gave you?
So I actually bought the cheaper protein powder. But it's like a gut health cleanse. So you start off with just taking digestive enzymes with your meals, and you do cut out all of those things. So you're cutting out grains, starchy vegetables, beans. So it's like basically fruits, veggies, you can do like no added sugar pasta sauces. You're taking out like chemicals, right? So you're eating, you can do chicken, turkey, fruit. I lived on like a crap ton of fruit for a while because some people were like, oh, so you're probably in ketosis. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, not a thing. Like I ate a pound of strawberries in 2 days. Probably not. I'm just saying. Right. But it worked. So, and then you can add, like, the second week is a bit more of a cleanse week. So it's like a laxative cleanse, which I didn't do a whole ton of because it made me kind of feel ill. So I just didn't do that part. And then the last week you can kind of add things back in. I haven't really felt like the want or need to, which is really strange. So if you cut out all sugar and added sugar, I will tell you your taste buds do change, which I thought was a line of crap. Which is funny.
But it does.
Yeah. So I had like a couple of Girl Scout cookies yesterday because those came in, and I was like, I'm going to have a treat. Like, it's been like over a month. Right. So, yeah. And I was like, oh, this isn't even good anymore. And I'm like, somebody's ruined me. Ruined. But yeah, I mean, really, it was just kind of like a mindset thing. And for me, I'm a little bit competitive. And I was like, if she can do it, there's no way I'm going to screw it up now. Like, no. So, and I don't really miss dairy. I do feel like if I had like a bunch of cheese, my stomach would probably not be happy with it. And it wasn't at times, you know, when I'd have cheese or ice cream or whatever. Am I saying I won't now and then? I will, but it's not like an all the time thing. So,
So when you do eat it now, like when you do have like a sugar or something, it might not taste good or as good as what you thought it was going to taste, what your memory was, but does it make you feel different too? Not just mindset?
It didn't today, or it didn't last night when I had cookies. So we'll see. I did have like Splenda instead of stevia in my coffee one day, and it gave me a headache, and I was like, oh, maybe that's where my headaches were coming from, right? Because we don't do that, right? We just like, oh, I'll just take an ibuprofen or a Tylenol. We don't look at how food influences our bodies, which honestly, with my science background and stuff now, I'm like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. Now, to kind of like be able to pinpoint different things.
And you did that in 21 days? That was the program?
The program's 21 days. I started towards, I think, 3rd week in February. So I've continued afterwards doing it. I've had like rice a few times, not really anything. I mean, Girl Scout cookies have wheat in them. That's about it. So I don't think I have like a gluten insensitivity at all. So like, it's nothing that's bad, quote unquote. But if I want to keep, and I have lost like, I don't know, like 10 pounds or something. Wow. But if I want to keep that going, I feel like those things are super high in calories. So like to keep an eye out, and I wasn't missing them. Like I wasn't hungry. I wasn't like, sad, like just kind of retraining to like what you're reaching for, you know?
Yeah. Okay. And so part of what you had posted, you talked about a coach. So what kind of coach are you working with?
She's an embodiment coach. It's really funny because it's like very like woo and kind of out there. So it's kind of hard to explain. I would say the closest would be like a mindset coach, like a personal development kind of thing. She's actually a former boutique owner. She does a podcast. She's really, really great. I met her in LA when I went to LA for a boutique hub thing to like shop the wholesale market out there too. And she's just really, really good. So, I mean, I'm not really a therapy person. I know people, like I tried, it wasn't really, I mean, I chat all the time and tell everybody everything. So, I mean, it really wasn't anything different for me. I'm like, nah, you know, like it just wasn't resonating. So we're trying this out. So far, it's been good. I'm about a month and a half into like a 6 month.
Is she local contract. Or?
She is actually out of North Carolina.
Oh, okay. All right. What are you thinking or hoping for out of it? What do you want to get out of it? Just a different mindset?
Not even a different mindset, honestly, because I think mindset is kind of crap. Unless you like really integrate it into your life, like, you know, reading a nice quote, like, or standing in the mirror saying, you know, I love myself, I am worthy, isn't going to do a darn thing if you're not like internalizing it, if you're not bringing that in.
Yeah.
So just kind of shifting some different beliefs that have kind of, because we all have them, right? As women, especially, we are like, if she has it, I can't have it. Like we're competitive, we're, you know, jealous of others, we're whatever. And I'm not like a ton, right? Like that's not me. Like I'm super willing to help other boutique owners or whatever, because I do believe that there's enough out there for everybody. But I think just to kind of like shift some of those things inside, like what we used to protect each other, like you're not, and one of the things she says a lot, like you're not a perfectionist, you're not a procrastinator. Those are all like coping mechanisms. You're not a people pleaser. Like getting to like why we do those things, or like some people like self-sabotage, right? Like something's really, really great. And then they're like, oh, it can't keep being this great. So now I'll just stop doing it now. Right. Because it's going to something's going to happen.
Right.
To kind of get to where those like beliefs and those protectors of ourselves kind of came in, and why we're coping in that way instead of something else, like just getting really curious about it. And being like, oh wait, like why do I think this is the end of the world right now, right? Because one of mine is like the drama queen. I think that like something happens and I'm like, the world is gonna end, like this is never gonna happen, like, you know. And to kind of be like, wait, like, is this really what's going on here? Or am I just like protecting myself to not, you know, whatever. So that kind of was a little convoluted, but it's very hard to kind of explain exactly what she does. It's kind of like you just have to do it.
Does she ask you good questions to get you thinking?
I would say she does. We're kind of like getting into like the meat of it now. So it was a lot of like some like meditation, like embodiment, like finding out where in your body you're feeling different things and holding different things and like getting out of that brain, right? Because your brain's always like all the time. I'm like, we're always like up here. Whereas like if you get down and like if you're really focusing in your body, like you almost can't even speak in the same way. It's really interesting. So just a lot of like cool different stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it, and it sounds like you're taking time for you, and you obviously live a really busy life. You're a nurse, you went back to nursing, you own your own business, you've got a family, and they're not all right here, so that means you got to do some traveling too. So how do you have time to make time? Because that's the hard part.
Well, my house is a mess. My Christmas decor is still up, so we're good. I don't care. Like that is not a priority to me. We'll get there. Like, I mean, it's not dirty. It's just cluttered, but and every once in a while I bribe my teenager to clean it. So it works out fine. But like just figuring out what's a priority for you, right? Like, so I wanted to read more and figured out a way to keep myself accountable for that. Right. And then I like, once I start getting into it again, I'm like, oh yeah, I really like doing this. So I'm going to do it, you know?
Yeah.
instead of scrolling or instead of whatever. Like I said, like with the book club, that was something I always kind of wanted to do. Like, we should have a book club. And I was like, wait, I have this whole group of women. Like, somebody's going to want to do this too, right?
Yeah.
So we started that, and we go to brunch once a month to like discuss the book.
That's nice. And even during COVID, you were able to find.
Oh, now? No, I just started a couple months ago.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
what kind of books do you read? Are they, how do you choose your books for your book club?
Oh, everybody can kind of give suggestions, and then we just do a poll of the group, and then whatever one wins, and then we,
That's very democratic. Do they get a free brunch if they get their book picked?
No.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a couple things. I mean, one is you're learning about yourself and who you are and what you want. You are in a place in your life where you have a little bit more time because your kids are a little bit older, so you're starting to figure out what you can do with that free time. And it's not really free, but how you really, don't you feel like sometimes if you look back through the years with kids, with babies, and yours only a year apart, holy smokes, that would be difficult. I got 3 years apart, and that was interesting at times. But don't you feel like we just pivot our interests, our priorities based on our family and what's going on at the time? Because there didn't feel like there was any time when they were little babies to do anything. You couldn't even sleep or eat sometimes. And now they're still a part of our lives, and we still worry about them, and we still, have to talk to them and figure out where they're at. And so they still take up time of our lives, but in a different way. They're more adults, and it's kind of neat to see them now and what we thought they were going to be, years ago, and now who they are becoming. It's kind of cool to watch that change. But
right.
But now we do have a little bit more time. Like, I just started reading again too, because now all of a sudden I actually do have, maybe 15 minutes here, maybe a half an hour here that I didn't even get before. But you do like prioritize. I was working with a business coach, and it was financial, and it was operational, and it was all those things, but then it was personal. And I'm like, really? Like, I get time to really think about what I want, like what I would really like to do. And I actually get to set some time on. So do you feel that?
To me, I feel like, my time changed a lot when my kids started driving. Thank the good Lord. Yeah. It's funny because people get like super nervous, and I can't say that that's a super big thing for me, because I just know it's out of my control.
Yeah. So
I'm kind of pretty good at that stuff. Although my 18-year-old keeps talking about driving from Nashville by herself, and that's not happening. But I'm like, no, buy a plane ticket. So there definitely is more time. I feel like I did take time. Like, I mean, I went to nursing school and they were like 8 and 9. So thank goodness my husband is great. So I've always kind of been able to do things on my own, but a lot of like my social life and stuff was through the dance studio and through, because that's where you are. Like, and the same thing with my kids, like that's where their friends were. So that's where they wanted to be.
Yeah.
So there definitely is more time now. I can't say I haven't always kind of taken a little bit of time for myself, but I also like enjoy doing kid stuff. So now I'm like, can somebody give me their kids so I can take them to the zoo, please? Like, like the creepy old lady who like wants your children. It's fine.
Well, and don't you too? I mean, when my kids are growing up, their parents were my friends. Now they're on their own and they're older. And so now you start looking around, and those friends are not generally the same friends anymore. You start to create new friends, and you have to kind of look outside of that kid area and find adults of your own. Yeah. But you're creating that with your business, because it's
right. Exactly. I think that our businesses are a direct reflection of ourselves, which is why I feel more important to invest in like personal development coaching as opposed to business coaching, because I can literally learn the strategies anywhere, right? Yeah. Like the strategies are out there. You can learn how to set up your finances anywhere. I choose to just hire someone for that because no, thank you. But you know, like, I feel like you are your business, basically, at least, especially in my case. I am my business. So if I want my business to kind of reflect my values in my life, right? So my values are always transparency, honesty, being really, really authentic. With people, like, I want the same person that they see online showing up, whether they're my personal Facebook friend or just on my business page or in my group. Yeah. I want them, like, I'm the same person, right? Whether I'm here, or here, it doesn't matter. There's no, like, this aura of, like, professionalism. Like, to me, I'm just like, please stop. Like, just be yourself, right? So for me, like, creating this space where, like, women can come in, like, it kind of gives me those friendships, which sounds sad, like, right? But at the same time, like, it's really hard as an adult, right? To, like, have time. You're like scheduling your hangouts with your friends like a week from next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Right. I have to be done at 4 because I have to go here, right? Like, we're all busy. And that's, you know, that's a whole nother conversation about the, you know, glorification of being busy all the time. Yeah. But creating that space, like, and learning how to do new things. Like, we did paint nights at the store. We did blanket making classes. I have another one coming up on April 9th if anyone's interested.
Those
and
look
it's super easy. Oh my God, I just made another one yesterday because I bought more yarn from her. I can't even tell you. Like, it is the best blanket. And I'm not an Afghan lover, so it's nothing like an Afghan at all. It's like this big, fuzzy, almost like Sherpa yarn. Oh, it's amazing. I'm in love. And at first I was like, I'm not paying that for big blankets. Oh, if you guys want to, cool, I'll set it up. Right? And now I'm like, can I make another one? Do you have yarn I can buy now? Like, what? You know? So learning something new, like, when was the last time you learned, like, how to do something brand new that you've never done before? And a lot of adults are like, I don't even know. Right. Yeah. Like, and that's like expanding in those ways and setting up community where people can come in and hang out. Like, okay, we're going to come and do this. I do boutique parties. So if you have a group of women, like, if you want to reconnect with those friends and they think, you know, if they like shopping and hanging out or whatever, they can bring in like wine and snacks and whatever and have a fun party. Like, you know, have a couple hours in the store by themselves, just their group, hang out, snack, people shop. They do ridiculous fashion shows. Like, you know, it just depends on the group. So that's really fun to do. We're doing sip and shops on Friday. We have somebody coming in. Tracy Drury does Tupperware. She's been doing it for like 20 years, something crazy. And she's doing how to make sangria. I mean, she'll use her Tupperware tools, and then there's cash and carry from her, and you can shop at the store. And we're open 6 to 8 as 8 of our like sip and shop times for Friday.
That's cool.
We're doing. Yeah, we do like special like birthday days. So the 16th is actually coming up on Wednesday. I don't know when this will be out, but on the 16th, we're doing what we do it every single month. There's a date we pick. Generally, I think it's the third Wednesday, whatever this one is. I don't even know. And we do birthday day. So you can get 20% off your purchase in the store for me. So it's in store only. I'm at 1292 Sheridan, right in Kenmore. You get 20% off your purchase. Just show us your license, so you know your birthday's in March, and from Pure Romance as well. So with Sabrina. Then in the evening from 6 to 8, it's like a sip and shop again. You bring wine and mimosas, whatever, and you can come in, shop. It's for you and a friend or two. Celebrate your birthday. We give little gift bags away, and just so you have like that special time. But if you can't make it at night, you can definitely come in during the day and still get your discount. So that's pretty fun too.
That's cool.
So just thinking of like new fun things and fun ways to bring people together and learn new stuff.
That's really cool. So can you give the address one more time?
Sure. It's 1292 Sheridan Drive. It's right in like Kenmore, Tonawanda area. So we're right near the intersection of Military and Sheridan.
Oh, all right. Okay. And if somebody wanted to follow you on Facebook, how do they find you?
If you do at Sunsets and Souls, it should pop right up for you. So it's Sunsets and Souls Boutique is our business page. Easiest way to follow there. If you want to join the VIP community, it's just sunsetsandsoulsvip.com, and that pops you right to the Facebook page or Facebook group to join as well.
Okay. And I was wondering if it's okay with you, if we can check in on you during the year to see how all of this is going with you, because I think that, you're the model of many, many women out there who are always in transition, because I think we all are. Every year there's a new transition in our lives.
We should 100% be growing all the time. Absolutely. Yeah. I will say, like, January was really great. I worked out all the time, did all the things. February was like a big blah. And then I was like, okay, like I started doing the gut health protocol again, like, and focusing back on myself and what I wanted to do again after kind of letting that go. So I'm definitely not perfect, but it's just always like refocusing, bringing things in. I've started posting in my VIP group, like, what are your intentions for the week? At first it started off as like a check-in for your 2022 goals, but like people, those fall off, right? It was 3 months ago. People are like, right now. But if you say, like, set your intentions for the week, like, what do you want to do for you this week? I want to, work out 3 times, read daily, read, this many pages, or whatever, setting those little goals and having kind of a place to like write them down, and people that are rooting for you to do that as well helps with that accountability. So I think checking in with you will be great for me because it will keep me on track and going. And I think we all need that in our lives.
Yeah, and I think that having like weekly is so much easier than having those yearly where February always comes along and it gets you.
February is the worst.
Yeah, it really is, because you
February
hit
is the worst.
Yeah, you hit the ground running in January. You're all excited, and then February is just I don't know what it is.
February's like, can it please be spring now? Like, I'm done. I'm all done. I'm done. And then it snowed yesterday, and my head almost exploded. But here we are.
I know.
I know. The daylight savings time is upon us. Thank the good Lord. I literally looked it up like last week or the week before and was like, when the heck does this time change? I cannot handle it any longer. And
it's true. And like the snow was gone. Green grass was coming through. Like I was just getting in that mindset, and then it snowed and it's covered. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So
right. And I feel like it happens every single year, especially in this area, right? And then it always like snows once in April and everyone freaks out. And I'm like, every year I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, it always snows in April, Amy. Why are you freaking out? But we're just done, right?
Yeah.
Like we're done.
Yeah. I mean, if you go back to December, it's been a long time. I mean, yeah, it's only been 3 or 4 months, but it feels like it's been an eternity. So, yeah, I think that it's nice to check in, with somebody who will just, tell us how it is. And I think more so, it just keeps us motivated. Yes, we're going to slip. We're not going to follow what we said we were going to do in January all the time, but that's okay. You don't need to be perfect, like you said in the beginning. Just to stay forward thinking, keep moving, and it'll eventually all kind of come into play. I mean, it'll all click for you.
One of my other favorite things lately is life is always going to life. Right? Like it's always going to, your plans are never going to be what you thought they were. Like you can make all these plans, but life will always come in life, right? It's going to do whatever it wants to do. Right. Like, I mean, and COVID's like a collective crazy thing that happened to everybody. Right. But there's always going to be something going on in your life or with somebody you love or with something else that comes in and kind of changes what you're able to do or what your focus is or what your priorities are. And it's not that you're failing at doing what you wanted to do. It's that sometimes things have to change, right? And we have to adjust and pivot, which is the most annoying business word I've ever heard, but that's where we're at, right?
Yeah, we have to pivot.
Right? It's just, we have to be willing to do that and change and, do things we're not good at right away. So I just kind of, I feel like once we kind of like know that and accept it and move on, like it's a lot easier to like grow, and it's easier to be like, oh look, I knew life was gonna look, that happened. This is that interesting. Like we don't have to freak out because we know something's gonna happen.
Right. And it doesn't have to be the end all be all. Something happens and then you get off track doesn't mean that you can't jump back on in a day or
exactly
two. So yeah, absolutely. So for those listening right now, what advice do you have for women that want to get to where you are, like just moving forward? And or they don't know where to begin. So they're struggling in those steps to get there. What would you say to them?
I would say pick one thing. Do you want to read? It's one thing that's like not super difficult to do, right? Like changing your whole diet, probably a little bit difficult. I mean, if you did that, it does give you confidence that you can actually do it, but I wouldn't start with that. I would start with something like, I want to read more. I want to go out more, right? Like I want to get to the Starbucks by myself once a week, right? And that's like a pretty quote unquote easy goal, probably easier for some than others, but like starting with something easy. I want to read for 15 minutes a day. Okay, I have 15 minutes now. Let me set a timer even just to make myself do it until it becomes a habit. Like start with one thing.
Yeah.
And then it can kind of snowball into more.
Yeah, I absolutely. I think that's really good advice, because I think, like growing up, it just seemed like people wanted you to make these really big goals. And it was always, what do you want to do 5 to 10 years from now? We don't look at 5 to 10 years from now anymore. Like we're lucky if we look at a year. We look at just a few days, a few weeks,
right?
And that's how it's. I think you'd achieve things better that way.
Right. And then honestly, like my kids are in that state right now, right? Because Maya graduated last year, Paige is graduating this year. It's funny because Maya just called me and was like, I think I just want to do personal training. And I was like, well, and start a business and all these people are here. And I was like, okay, cool. You probably should stay in school for now, but we'll see. Well, how will I do that and work? And I'm like, I don't know. You got to figure it out. But I mean, I'm very clear with them. Like, this is your life. Like, I don't have to like what you do. If you decide not to go to school because this is what you want to try for a year or two, okay, cool. But know that you have to like be able to take care of yourself. You have to be able,
Yeah.
So, and not to make those huge decisions. I'm a huge example of that, right? I was a teacher. I was an RN. I own a business. I have gone back. Like I do nursing on the side a little bit now, but it's not like my main focus. So like you can always change it. Like, I'm like, what do you want to do first? How about you pick that out? Like, what do you want to try first?
Yeah.
And then see. So,
well, yeah. And they say that students coming out of college nowadays, they could possibly have 4 to 6 careers in their lifetime. And because you can, as long as you have a good foundation, you can move around, you can try different things, you can use your skills in different ways. And so, like our parents coming out, they had one thing and they did it for their entire lives. And when you think to change, now you've changed 2 to 3 times and done it very well and just kind of moved to the next thing. And so that's a really good example for young people nowadays, is use the skill sets that you have and move to the next thing that you want to do. And
and also not be afraid to go back to school. Like, yes, it's pricey and I can't possibly go back to school again unless somebody pays for it, even though I'd like to because I like school. So that's the thing. But at the same time, like, it's okay. It's okay to completely like work it out. And I know that thankfully I was privileged enough to be able to do what I was able to do, right? Like going back to school and my kids were 9 and 10 or 8 and 9, whatever the heck they were.
Yeah.
Was a big thing, right? And it was at that time, like unemployment kept being extended. I found a program that would still pay me unemployment throughout the time I was in school, which was amazing, right? I just happened to like fit all the things. So I applied for it. So I could just concentrate on going to nursing school. But there's always more things out there to do. Like this world is abundant. You have one life. Like if something like you is really calling to you, like go ahead and try it out. See how it works. Like,
yep. Yeah, you got nothing to lose. And I think that's good advice for someone coming out of college, as well as, any woman out there who wants to just try something different and just go for it. So if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's no big deal. You just try something else.
Exactly.
And I think that's a different mindset too than what we probably were brought up to have. And I think that I think the world is changing. Obviously, it's changing every day. And so I think that we have to change with it in that mindset. So thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
We've never really talked in person, so this was a great chance to get to know each other. I want to, I actually saw something the other day, a necklace that you have online, and I said, I need to get to the store because I want to see it. So I'm going to be coming because I've been looking for it forever, and I'm like, she's got this. How did she get this?
How funny. Yeah, and there, the store's open 11 to 6, Wednesday to Friday, and then 10 to 2 on Saturdays.
Okay, I'm gonna get out this week because I have spring break this week, so I have a little bit more time on my hands this week.
There you go.
But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I love your transparency. I am going to be checking in with you in 2022 just to see how things are going. And and thank you for your time today.
No, you're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening to SharpHR Career Corner. If you know someone right now that hates their job but doesn't know what their next move should be, have them reach out to sharphumanresources-buffalo.com. We can help them figure out their next career move. Until next time, be kind, everyone. We need to show a lot more kindness in the world, and it starts with you and I. Thanks again for listening, and have a great day.